Welcome back, everybody. Me and Cunt here.
It's cold.
Me and Cunt here recently watched Hard to Kill, a modern day classic and a classic because it falls in that window where it's old enough to be considered a classic, but it's so ahead of its time that it's a new classic. Made in 1989, starring Steven Seagal, Kelly LeBrock or Brock, or is that the same person?
I think that when she was acting in France, she was LeBlanc. But in the United States, her name is Kelly Block.
That sounds right.
Yes.
That's actually his real wife. It was directed by Johnson.
Yes.
Franks.
Yes, Johnson Franks.
And
A noted martial arts film director.
yeah, and basically the film, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out. It's right there in the title. Steven Seagal's Hard to Kill. He's an unstoppable killing machine, and when people try to kill him, they put him in a coma for, I think it was like 45 years.
Very long time.
Very
yes.
long time.
At one point, I believe he was frozen on ice.
Yeah, but when he comes out, he goes for some naughty revenge.
Very naughty. And what I found to be so fascinating about this film was the Buddhist subtext. The character played by Mr. Seagal is shown meditating in front of a Buddhist altar, and he achieves all of his goals through a sort of passive-aggressive action-non-action dichotomy wherein he uses the martial art of Aikido, which is a defensive martial art in which your opponent attacks you and you use their momentum against them.
So that's the one that is mainly their legs, right?
Yes, I believe so. And I believe that is a metaphor, in fact, for his passive revenge in which he allows them to destroy themselves.
Yeah. There's also one of the best henchmen in film ever, Quintero. And he's just a beast. He just runs through everybody. No one can mess with him, until he runs up into Seagal.
Yes.
Who just, beats his ass. But I think what I remember the most about this film is the fantastic quotes. I don't know if it was, written by Aaron Sorkin or what, but the quotes are fantastic. I remember when he's looking at that TV and he says, "I'm going to take you to the bank, Senator Trent, to the blood bank." And it's because he's playing off a quote from earlier. It's like the old screenwriting adage where you set up and then you pay off.
And then, indeed, in that scene, the television isn't even on.
It doesn't need to be on.
It doesn't need to be on. Again, returning to the Buddhist subtext of the film and achieving enlightenment through meditative non-action. And I wonder if Aaron Sorkin wrote this film under one of the pseudonyms he used to use when he worked in the martial arts film industry.
Probably. I heard that too.
Many people don't know that he was, in fact, in his first career, a Taekwondo champion.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Now I do. And a lot of films have these long monologues about nonsense. Not this film. Later on, when he's getting his revenge, he stabs a dude in the neck with a pool cue, and then he says, "Fuck, this is for my wife, fuck you," and die. Kicks him in the face, dude falls over and dies. I mean, if this was like, Scorsese or Nolan or someone like that, they would have talked for 5 minutes, but not here. He killed that guy so he can move on to kill the next guy.
It is indeed a model of narrative economy, and in that way reminds me of the film Crack House, which is
another classic.
Almost a perfect dialectic in the way that its narrative unfolds.
So, fun fact for you. I read that Francis Ford Coppola actually watched this film, and it was an inspiration for him to make The Godfather.
Interesting.
He based the character of Godfather after Seagal.
And is that why The Godfather speaks with a similar accent to Steven Seagal?
I think so.
Interesting.
There's even the scene where he's in a coma, And between the second and first movie of The Godfather, there's the whole thing in the hospital.
Yes.
I'm surprised there was no lawsuit for like plagiarism or something.
I would assume because in real life, Steven Seagal has been named by a Buddhist luminary from Tibet as a reincarnation of an ancient Buddhist deity.
You can't sue that.
No, you can't. Indeed.
So this is another movie that I would highly recommend if you haven't seen it.
Highly recommended.
Just go watch it. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll cheer.
And you will be enlightened.
Enlightened.